As someone who's becoming a dating, relationships, and self-improvement coach, here are some struggles or challenges that I've been reflecting on how to help my clients achieve their results, to attract the partner of their dreams. So something that's a little scary to me is I can't guarantee or promise that you will get the result, because the result is technically someone saying yes to you. Like, it's kind of a gamble. It's kind of a 50-50 sometimes at the very best. I can't jump into your shoes and make you attractive more than you already are, or whatever you're willing to commit, and I can't jump into the shoes of another person and make them say yes, because to be honest, if anyone actually could do that, I think the world could be a dangerous place, even though it sounds very tempting and fun. So when I work with my future clients, I do want to aim to put you in the best possible position that will get you the result that you're looking for. If it means attracting a partner, being attractive, even getting more self-confidence in yourself, improving yourself, because I've read a fair bit of self-improvement stuff. Like, it's kind of a problematic addiction at this point. If you've not looked this up, go to YouTube, see the addiction of self-improvement, and just see that in itself can be a problematic addiction. I'm actually wondering if I should just stay off the self-improvement part, but that's just natural. It comes with anything. Although self-improvement is very important when you grow in your relationship, when you continue to invest in yourself, because that's kind of what self-improvement should be. You should be investing in yourself, because if you don't invest in yourself, then you kind of neglect yourself. And one of the areas that we do need to invest our time and attention into is our emotional intelligence and our self-awareness. And if you have struggled like me for a long time, this can be it can feel like such a grind. And by the time you realize that you're actually competent at it, it's like, damn, how did I even get here? But that's the scary thing as well. Like I said, it's like I can't jump into your shoes, I can't jump into their shoes and force someone to do something. Which brings me to a very important point, my next thing that I've been reflecting on, and which is this. There is more than one way to skin a cat. I really do appreciate this saying, because it's becoming more evident to me that this is true. If I was to look at my own parents, they didn't need all these psychological tactics to be in a relationship and do what they do. They didn't need any of that. If I even look at my grandmother's parents, their relationship went bad, real bad at one point. And then when they were like really old, they got back together. And I don't even know if they had, did they even have the internet? I think they just knew each other and they're like, yeah, let's get remarried again. There wasn't all this need for the best, latest and greatest hermetic principles and tactics from how to win friends and influence people. To be in a relationship, to attract, is a natural thing that we do. It's not something that we ever technically stop doing. So in a sense, wherever you're at now, by default, you have somewhat attracted that into your life as it is. So yeah. What I appreciate about this saying, though, when it comes to there is more than one way to skin a cat, is that this is good for you as the client, and even myself, because there are dozens, maybe even thousands of principles and laws of human nature, the universe. But here's the thing, you don't have to leverage every single one of these principles and laws, because that would be aiming for perfection. That would be aiming for an impossibility, really. I think this is almost why self-improvement and just growth in general is a thing to begin with, because then we start examining which laws and which principles and which type of transformation can we look at to make things better. This is how the Industrial Revolution happened. This is how the flight was invented, because, we started looking at different laws and different principles and how they connect and interconnect. And from those, we invented the next route, And so I think that's what we do naturally when we're trying to navigate our own relationship problems. If we want to invent flight, then we start looking at all the different laws and principles on how to invent flight. How does the bird do it? if we want to create something not reinvent the wheel, but what I'm saying is you start looking at things, obviously. That's why we just do it naturally. And you start creating something. It's in our nature to create. And this moves on to the next point that I've been reflecting on. Because when you try to be so perfect, you do burn yourself out. I'm actually trying to unburn myself. Because I have unconsciously been trying to be perfect for a long time. And I think it made me afraid for a long time that I was rejected and so on myself for not being perfect, for not being enough. So my next point is, and I do apologize if I've rambled on just a little bit too much, I'm working on that, is probably the better way to go about in being in a relationship in general. Let's say you are a client or a potential client of mine. I'd be looking at you. I'd be looking at who you're trying to attract. I'd be looking at what aura you speak, in a sense. And I'd be thinking to myself, maybe we just need to be in touch with our inner child a little bit more, because that's kind of what a relationship kind of is. Back in the day, like a long time ago, relationships were somewhat arranged. It was more about financial positioning and labor. But there are instances in the Bible where relationships were just pure out of love. But if we had to just go and look at what is a relationship in a sense, it's sort of the place where you should be able to bring out your inner child a little bit with the person that you're romantically interested in. If you are prevented from being able to have that, this might make it very challenging to proceed forward in the relationship. This doesn't mean that you shouldn't be serious at times, but it doesn't mean that you should always be serious, especially when putting your foot down and caring so much, like overinflating how much you care about something, can actually inhibit your performance in the relationship and cause you to repel the thing that you're trying to attract. So when it comes to wantingness, the emotion of wantingness, desire, it should be no different than salt. When you're cooking your meals, you just sprinkle a little bit of salt, and that is sufficient when it comes to the feeling of desire and want. Because if you want something so much, you're less likely to attract it. And so I'm thinking, yes, we want it. We want that outcome. We want that relationship. We want that attraction. We want that sex. We want that massages and stuff. But let's not go more than that of a pinch of salt. Because in a sense, the more you want a Ferrari so bad, I would imagine the less likely you're going to really get it. The only way you'd probably ever achieving a Ferrari by visualizing it to the death is if you literally breathe Ferrari. And this actually leads perfectly into my next point that I've been reflecting on, and that is, naturally, we attract people who are like us. So for me, if I am talking to my specific clients, I'm aiming for perhaps more masculine, feminine people, right? I'm not particularly looking at people who have big gaping rings on their ears and tattoos all over their face, because I'm telling you, those people who are like that attract very similar people to them. This is kind of a golden rule. It's not like blanket 100% true, but generally speaking, this is the default. You typically tend to attract certain people who are similar in figure to you. That's it for this video. 10-minute mark is up. If you want to reach out to me and ask me any questions, feel free to DM me on Instagram.